Okay, so I'm here today to talk about my pre-order experience. As we know, a couple weeks ago that the Switch 2 pre-orders went live, and I, of course, myself pre-ordered a Switch 2. Now, it was quite a bit of a challenge. There was a ton of complaining around people saying that they couldn't get it online and that websites were crashing and stuff like that. But I'm not here to talk about that today. Today, I'm here to talk about my pre-order story and how it went. So I hopped on the computer at about 12 o'clock, ready to pre-order the Switch 2 with my grimy little hands. I have 3 monitors going and a whole separate computer ready to go just in case something happens and my computer crashes and I need that extra computer. Now, I live in Canada, so we don't have Target, so Target was immediately off an option for me to pre-order. So that already limited me a teeny bit. Then I had GameStop, Walmart, and Best Buy. And I sat there waiting for them to go up, and they finally go up. And as soon as they all go up, they immediately crash for me on my computer. My computer doesn't crash, but the websites crash themselves. So I reload the pages over and over and over again. I check on my other computer, I reload the pages over and over and over again, and they're just down completely. Wasn't even a queue for me. It was just down. I wasn't sure if it was just my computer or internet, but it was probably the websites. I did eventually get into a queue in Walmart, which most people did. However, Walmart gave me a website error halfway through, which was really annoying as I was waiting 30 minutes for these other websites to go up, and Walmart just would put me in a queue, 10 minutes later, crash. So I gave up immediately on Walmart because I had waited about an hour for Walmart in general in the end. Now moving on to Best Buy. Best Buy seemed in Canada to be kind of the better one. I managed to get onto the website and try and pre-order it, but my card information got messed up for some reason. And I heard that it was getting messed up on Target, but for me in Canada, my card information got messed up at the Best Buy checkout. So unfortunately, I was too late there and it said sold out. However, I will note the next morning that when I woke up, there were still some available, even though it had said sold out the previous night. So I thought about picking one up then, but I decided not to because I'll tell you later on what happened. And lastly, we have GameStop. Now, GameStop, I have had a good experience with pre-orders in Canada. The Canadian GameStop website is pretty well built. I won't even lie. Compared to Target and Best Buy, the Canadian website actually even looks, in my opinion, better than the American one. But aside from all that, I think that the way that they do it just looks a lot better. So I got put into a line and waited and waited and waited. And when I finally did get in, it said sold out, which was the crappy part. So I'm not sure if that was something with GameStop or what, but I finally got in. I was praising the Lord, like, thank you. I really wanted the Switch and I'm right here, and I look at the thing and it says sold out and I'm like, oh, damn it. My original game plan was to go in person to GameStop and I was ready to do that. Next morning, I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go down to my GameStop. Now, where I live, there is only one GameStop in the entire city. I live in a city, by the way, and there is only one GameStop. The other GameStops are like a 2-hour drive away. I am not willing to do that at 6 o'clock in the morning to just arrive there because I would have to wake up at 4 o'clock to end up getting there at 6. Now, I get there and there are about 11 people already in this line. How is that possible? The crazy part for me was that this GameStop is in a mall and somehow the mall was open at 6, before even 6 in the morning. I don't know what it is with them, but like, did they break in or something? Like, dude, I didn't even know the mall was open that early. Maybe the GameStop opened the mall or something like that, but that early. And they had lawn chairs, everything, bro. They were hardcore Nintendo fans. Now, unlike other GameStops, mine did not have a list on how many Switches were available. It was a total guess. And that's why I arrived early, because if there was only 5 Switches there, you better arrive early. So when I got there, there was 11 people in line at 6 in the morning on a Thursday. Remind you, on a Thursday, there was 11 people at 6 a.m. in line. Insane. So I wait till about 8 o'clock. This GameStop opens at 10. There's 2 more hours of waiting. By the time it hit 8 o'clock, there were about 50 to 60 people in line just for a pre-order. It was definitely a pretty crazy sight to see. I don't think I've ever seen a pre-order like that line before. And you have to remind yourself, people have work, right? Like, these people are skipping work and are prepared to go to pre-order a Switch 2, which is insane. It's just insane to me think about right now. But now in Canada, they hadn't really revealed some of the prices for the games and the accessories because they were all in American pricing. So what people were doing was they were converting it over to USD. So we had no idea what the prices were going to look like. And then it happened. I finally got the price sheet. Now, the price sheet was a bit surprising. Don't kid yourself, Canadian prices are definitely more expensive than American, but that's because of price adjustment. But to me, I was not expecting the price hikes to be that high. And when I heard people complaining about $80 games, in my mind, I was going, oh, $80 is cheap because in Canada, that's how much games normally cost. And looking at this price sheet made me go, holy cow. The prices are big. I will put up a photo on screen what the prices were. Seeing an all-in-one carrying case for $110 was just a bit crazy to me, right? And seeing the camera priced at $70. Yeah, I will never be buying that, by the way. 70 for a camera that looks pretty crap, to be honest with you. I'm definitely not purchasing that. Ever. And the Pro controller was $110. Now, to put that in perspective, I mean, the PS5 controller in Canada is $100. So I was actually pretty okay with paying an extra $10 for a controller. That didn't piss me off that much. But then we get Canadian game prices, and I'll share the screenshot here. Let me tell you, seeing Cyberpunk at $100 for the Switch definitely hit hard. But seeing Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 edition for $115 was crazy to me. Excuse me, but how is anybody buying that game? I could buy 4 games and that's $450 right there. Actually, $460 technically. But, you know, I'll write it down, you know, just so you guys can have a peace of mind and not argue about this. But a lot of these games are hugely priced. These game prices are massive. But getting aside with the game prices and me waiting in line, 10 o'clock rolls around and it was finally time to pre-order the Switch. There was about 200 people in line by the time it hit 10 o'clock. 200 people is a lot for a console pre-order. Some people, when it hit 9 o'clock, saw how many people were there and just left, to be honest. There were some people who looked so disappointed because there was so many people lined up that they just left, completely left. Not even bothered to get their Switch 2, and they were like, no. This has gone too far. We're done. We're out of here. But I stuck it through. So I went up to the counter, asked, can I pre-order the Mario Kart bundle for the Switch 2? Because of course I'm going to do that. Was $110. I'm not paying $110 for Mario Kart. I think it was like $80 if I got the bundle. And you know what? That's still expensive for a game. But I want a new game with the console, and I'm not willing to pay $110. I'll still pay $80 because that's what game prices have been at for a while. So you know what? I did buy the bundle because that was worth it in my opinion. And I left the store feeling proud that I had waited 4 hours to pre-order my Switch. The other thing I should mention though is that even though there was 200 people there, they had confirmed 300 Switches, which is a decent amount. That is pretty big amount, but you also have to remember I'm in a giant city and there is only one GameStop, right? So that one GameStop, basically it's all the load, because like in a normal giant city there'd be like 2 or 3 and they'd split them up. So that's probably why my GameStop got a huge amount of stock in. Otherwise for me, I'm glad I arrived at 6 a.m. I'm glad that I waited out the 4 hours, which by the way is a huge amount of time for pre-order, but I wasn't even sure and nobody was sure how many Switch 2s there would be in general. Tell me how your guys' pre-order story was, and if you guys could please subscribe down below, that would be awesome, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.